So before the release of Lightfall, most people already knew about the necrotic grips and their synergy with Osteo Striga. While I had never used that combination before today, unfortunately I know I'm behind the curve, I still understand how powerful it was. So would you believe me if I told you it has become one of the greatest Destiny builds to date with the release of Strand and Lightfall? That's right, combining the suspend abilities of Strand with the necrotic grips Osteo Striga build of the past creates one of the greatest builds to come out in Lightfall. So, without wasting any more time, let's get into what makes this build work. So starting off, it is important to understand how the base necrotic grips Osteo Striga combination works. So Osteo Striga is a weapon where every bullet poisons enemies hit. This works with necrotic grips since the poison activates the perk Grasp of Devourer, which increases damage over time when damaging poisoned enemies. Where this works even better is that defeating poisoned enemies spreads the effect to nearby enemies. How this works with Strand is using the aspect Mind Spun Invocation. Consuming your grenade gives you a 25-second window where any enemy killed causes nearby enemies to become suspended in air. So not only are you poisoning nearby enemies, but combining this build with Strand also suspends all the enemies as well. So that is the base interaction for how this build works. You're not going to need to use any artifact mods, since none of the mods really work with this build. Going more in depth with the Strand subclass, I'm using Healing Rift. You have your Arcane Needle, which also activates poison. And then the grenade you want to use is Shackle Grenade. Specifically because it works with the aspect Mind Spun Invocation, where Final Blows with Weaver Strands active creates a suspending detonation. Basically how I described it earlier. The other aspect you're going to want to use is a Weaver's Call. Cast your Rift to weave 3 threadlings and deploy any threadlings you have perched. This is a fine addition, it doesn't really change much. Now going on to the fragments you want to use. Thread of Continuity. Suspend, Unravel, and Sever effects applied to targets have increased duration. This just means all enemies you suspend in the air using your combo will stay in the air much longer. Combining this with Thread of Mind, defeating suspend targets grants class ability energy. This will work into the mods because when you use your class ability, you gain grenade energy back. The next fragment is Thread of Generation. Dealing damage generates grenade energy. This will allow you to consume your grenade even more often. But keep in mind the 25-second buff that you have when you consume your grenade gives you plenty of time to earn your grenade back. The last fragment is Thread of Warding. Picking up Orb of Power grants Woven Mail. Considering you're not going to be gaining much health back because this isn't a Void or Solar build, you're going to need that extra protection, so having Woven Mail really helps. Moving on to the armor. On the helmet, I'm using a Kinetic Siphon mod because Osteo Striga is a kinetic weapon, and since you're using it so often, you're going to be generating plenty of orbs. I'm using a special ammo finder just because I enjoy having as much special ammo as I can. And the last mod is Kinetic Targeting. This just helps with my kinetic weapon, considering I'm using it a lot more often than I would in other builds. On my arms, I'm using a Grenade Kickstart mod. When your grenade energy is fully expended, you gain grenade energy. This is just going to help you get back your grenade even faster. I'm using an Impact Induction mod. Causing damage with a melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. Keep in mind you have 3 melee attacks that also do poison damage, so you're going to be getting your grenade back much quicker when you're using your melee abilities. I'm also using a Kinetic Loader mod, just allowing my Osteo Striga to reload even quicker if I'm not getting the perk activation that overflows my mag. On my chest, I'm using a Charged Up mod. Increases the maximum number of stacks of armor charge you can carry by 1. This just allows me to gain more armor charges to use my grenade kickstart more often. I'm using an Arc Reserves mod for my heavy weapon, but you can use whatever mod you need depending on your weapon you're using. On my legs, I'm combining 2 Arc Weapon Surge mods, which works with my heavy weapon. Once again, these are interchangeable depending on the weapon you're using and what weapon surge mods you want to use. I'm also combining with an Innervation mod. Reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. Considering you're generating plenty of orbs using our Kinetic Siphon mod, you're going to be getting your grenade back much quicker than you would otherwise. Finally, on my Bond, I'm combining 2 Bomber mods. Reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. This is just going to allow you to have more avenues to gain your grenade back in case you don't have it yet. I'm also using a Distribution mod. Reduces all ability cooldowns when using your class ability and your targets. Once again, working into the Bomber mod as well. So that's the build. It's really fun, and the ability to suspend enemies while also poisoning them creates for a fun combination and an easy way to clear ads in game. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of this build, what do you think I can improve in it, and what other builds would you like to see in the future. Thanks and have a good day.